And today we have with us a very special guest. She is going to share some really good information about a project that she's working on that can directly impact people who have been in the justice system or the injustice system, shall I
Yes,
say.
yeah.
Miss Tamika Willis.
Hi, you guys.
Welcome.
Thank
How
you,
you doing?
thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you for joining us because we did have the opportunity to talk with you about your project that you're working on. But before we go into that, can you kind of give us a little background story about you and how all of this came about?
So I was kind of skeptical to share my story, but I have been in the justice system. When I was 18 years old, was convicted of, you know, distribution of cocaine. So I understand about having that second chance, being able to come back out and return into the community, and just looking at all the issues that we face, and also being a statistic.
Right.
Because I was a young mom, trying to do better by my children. So it all started where we look at our parents and see that they didn't have much of the opportunities that we have now. So I set out at an early age that I was going to be that person that breaks the generational curses. Went back to school, purchased homes, started businesses, taught my children about entrepreneurship. And so looking at the way that we've been taught and trying to get away from those old things and then kind of transition into something new. Now, you guys, this has not been an easy journey when we talk about entrepreneurship and breaking generational curses. And so getting out of the old mindset, right? And so with that, I dedicated myself to see how I can make a difference, right? And so what really fueled it more so was my daughter was a victim of gun violence a couple of years ago. She survived, but she was 4 months pregnant and the baby didn't. And so since then, there's been many senseless gun violence incidents that has touched us closely. And so I started out with one truck running for Amazon, and then I was introduced to the training aspect of it with the apprenticeship. So I was like, okay, this is something that, we can look at doing. And got into that. Then we had, like I said, a couple other tragedies that happened, but it never fueled what I wanted to do, what I wanted to become, what I wanted to bring back into the community, despite all the challenges that we made. So with this apprenticeship program, reached out to the state, the federal, and got 2 apprenticeship programs, heavy truck driver, where our apprentices get their CDL, right?
Okay.
And so then I created a hydrogen curriculum because that was the kind of highlight of getting into the clean fuel, right? Of course, now with this new administration, a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
So I am hydrogen safety certified as well.
Okay.
And so I looked at a way of how I can bring high-paying jobs into undeserved communities. We help young adults exiting foster care, formerly incarcerated, justice involved, women that's looking to get into construction and trucking, and of course, young adults exiting, I didn't say foster care, but
Yeah.
those are some of the things that we've been doing, but especially the people that, come from formerly incarcerated, trying to get back into it.
Yes.
I was very fortunate enough to where once I was, got out of trouble, and one of the judges seen that I didn't give any trouble, so he eliminated it, or should I say, what's
You were able to get an expungement.
well, expungement, and then he did a pardon, first
Okay.
offenders pardon,
Okay.
pardon. So I got
Yeah.
that, and so I was able to get into the carbon black industry, work in industrial. So I was able to really expand on it, right? And so I was grateful for that. But not too many of us that have gotten out or have family members that have gotten out, they can't get really good jobs. So I was able to get a good job, provide for my family, purchase my first home with me and my husband. And so it's just giving back, just trying to do something to say that it doesn't matter where you start. is where you finish and where you go. And so looking for people to give me an opportunity, I want to be that person that extends that hand to give the opportunity. So I think the apprenticeship program will give us that opportunity to help our people, right? Help them to understand it. But I also learned through this journey that it's for the ones that want it. Because not everybody wants it, right? We can keep extending that olive branch, but if they don't actually take hold of it and really want to do it, then there's nothing we can do. And what that does is it poisons the rest of them that really wants to do it.
Absolutely.
And so now, from experience, I've learned that we have to make sure that when we enter into these contracts or enter into these rooms, that they really want to do it, right? Because, even when we talk about the justice system, we talk about individuals, we can see one person that made this mistake and learn from it, but then you have the repeat ones. And not say give up on them, but they have to determine if they really want it.
Yeah,
and so now that's what I've
prioritize.
that's what I've really been kind of delving into and really looking at who do we know that really, really wants it? Because we can go into each one of these communities, but if they don't want it, there's nothing we can do about it. And so we have to be able to decipher between the ones that's really trying to make a change and the ones that's just, just empty space, basically. And so that's what brought me to the training aspect of it. We've been working in Monroe also. We had someone approach us about the landscaping and the farming and different things like that. So I'm trying to bring something that we are not used to, because we are so used to working at the McDonald's, the Burger King, the different things like that.
Right.
I want to be able to let them experience, when I purchased my first home, then I purchased another one, and then my children, of how it is. I had never been on a plane. I was raised on the country, you know what I'm saying? And so you see the planes flying, but once I got up there, I was like, I like this. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to, now
world,
I'm across the world. I'm in Mexico, I'm in Jamaica, I'm in different places. And
Yes.
so my parents never got to do that, right? And so coming from that background and understanding that, it's like, I want to do that. And so bringing my children and understanding and talking to them about this is what it is. And so, I have 5 children, 2 of them own their own construction company. My daughter that was a victim of gun violence is now a licensed cosmetologist here in Lafayette. I have a daughter that does the natural products for the hair. And also my baby boy, he was in the system as well. He went through some of the same things and had to learn, and he fought a lot of those challenges. So my thing is paving a way for my children and my grandchildren to where we have construction, we have trucking, we have, farming, we have, so each one of them have something at the beauty industry that they can kind of relate off. So this is where the legacy builds from here. And so it started, so I'm bearing all the tears and the headaches and the sleepless nights because I want them to have something that I didn't have, because we all had to start from scratch. We didn't have the uncle and mama left $100,000 for us to start off. We getting it out the mud, and this is basically getting it out the mud. So many times we go to, we hear no, but I can't stop. And every time I think I'm about to stop it and say I'm going back to work because I can't do this, God will open up something, somebody will call, and I was like, okay, God, if this is what I'm supposed to do, then okay.
That's true.
So
that's true. And I love the fact that you're teaching your children, because that generational wealth is important. And in our communities, most of the time we don't relate to that because we're like, wealth. We're not wealthy. We don't. What do we have? But you're showing your children how to, if you can't find a job. My mom used to always tell us, if you can't find a job, create one.
Yep.
Right.
Become, in other words, and she never used the word entrepreneur, but that's what she was saying. Create one, become an entrepreneur, because we all have skills, or we can all acquire skills that we could be really good at and excel. And what you're doing is opening up doors to a lot of people who felt like, I can never do this. I'll never go anywhere. This is my circumstance. This is my situation. This is it. But that mindset has to change. Like you said, you can only help those who want to be helped.
You have to understand, we were conditioned.
That's
because
it.
we heard a lot of this stuff over and over and over, that, they don't want us here. I
Right.
go back into, I've studied the Moors, how we created Black Wall Street and different things like that. And so you have to be able to create our own table.
That's
But
it.
you have to also be careful, because Jesus taught us even when you can even have your own enemy sitting to the table with
the
you. So
table
you
with
have to be able to balance everything. And that's the great part about it. When I reached out to you guys, I just want to say that I love what you guys are doing as far as with the community and the target markets that we're all trying to bring together. But when I reached out to you guys and told you my story, it was rewarding to see, because like I said, so many no's out of everything that I had been through, so many setbacks. And like I said, I was just getting ready to say, let me go back to work, because guess what? It's so much easier. I can go to work, make a paycheck, do what I got to do, and go home, and I don't have to worry about anything,
Giving up
right?
is easy.
So, but with that,
That's
of the challenges that I've endured, I know that God built me for this, so we all have a calling, right? And so this is me with my calling, and I know it's not going to be easy. So I always tell my children that, the Bible says your calling is without repentance. And so one thing I told them, I said, well, I know the Bible says it's harder for a rich man to get to heaven, but I tell you what, it's either get rich or die trying, and that's what I'm doing. So guess what? When we look at all the
That's it.
things and what we have to do, I want them to be able to live a good life, because my parents died without having to enjoy life. It was working for bills and just
working.
once a month check. I don't want to do that. So this is me changing the dynamic of what I was accustomed to, what we were programmed to do. And guess what? Just because we don't look like our counterparts, if we come together, and that's we always talked about that, there's power in numbers, right?
Right.
And so when we
Absolutely.
all collectively have the same goal of to create economic wealth, economic opportunity, financial literacy, and not just being wealthy, because rich, but just being wealthy with the knowledge, with the understanding,
yes,
being able to cultivate something more than what you started off with. And so that's my goal, and I do thank y'all for allowing me to tell that story in a setting to where we can reach a lot of people with it. So very excited about that.
So how can people get in contact with you? Anybody who's watching and is interested in your apprenticeship program, how can they get in contact with you?
So our website is www.tdstruckingtrainingtech.com. You can go to the website. You can fill out the form. It'll send me an email, and I'll get back in contact with you to kind of tell you what the details or what the next step would be. You can also reach me at 337-339-2957 to tell you more about the program. When we're looking to actually launch our first program. So if you can reach out to me anyway like that, and you guys will have the information as well. We'll have a QR code in my LinkedIn on the website, so you can click on that as well.
Awesome. Well, bro, you had
This was so refreshing. I didn't even have, she answered all the questions. I didn't even have to say a word. But I would like to say that this is so refreshing, and I think it's one of the most beautifulest things in the world is when we realize that it starts with me.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
And you said a lot when you said what a smart person told me once. Being poor is hard. Getting rich is hard.
Yeah.
So choose a hard.
Yeah,
You
choose
know what
a
I'm
hard.
saying? You gotta
Well, which
choose
one
a
you want
hard.
to choose? Because when we talk about
Yeah,
poverty
yeah,
and those
yeah.
things, I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't want my children and my grandchildren to experience those things. So, God promised us a good life, and so we have to go out and get it, because it's not going to fall to us.
But faith
So-
without works is dead.
Is dead, right?
That's right.
And so this is me when we talk about bringing our gifts to the exchange, and when the Bible talks about gave so many talents.
Right.
And so one of my things was, it's like, Lord, I'm trying to double this. You got to give me the resources to help me. You know what I'm saying? To do this. And so I've always taught my children about God, about, giving to others and different things like that. So I think that was the foundation of this, and just being able to know my experience and share it so that different people, I'm just like you. It may be not in the same setting, but I'm just like you. I failed before. I was young before. I made bad choices before. But now
Yes.
here it is, and the thing that we have as a culture, one bad mistakes, we drag each other for it,
Yes.
right? And we don't want to see the next person get out of that slum.
Yes,
But I'm not in for that. Like, look, I done cried a lot of tears. I done prayed and saying, God, we need to do something different,
That's
right?
it. That's
And
it.
so I can't stand in the seat of judging someone else because I know it may not have been me today, right? But it was me before.
Yes.
And so if I can help that person or if I can do something different, I'm not going to tear you down because I know what it's like to be there. So
Well, that right there is called that growth, that elevation.
Yes.
You know, like I use with my kids, the pyramid with the eye at the top. You know, and that's exactly what that pyramid means to me. Like when you start out with all that baggage, but as you keep climbing, that baggage falls off. And it falls as you grow, it falls off. Less stuff you worried about, less stuff you're trying to impress people with, less stuff. And then eventually when you reach the tip top is when you can see things clearly. You know what I mean?
I love that analogy.
yeah.
I love that. Now the pyramid really makes sense to me.
Yeah,
Thanks for that, bro. I get it.
Yeah, that
now.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But we're our own biggest enemy because
are.
we are also our own biggest critics.
That's true.
You know, and so a lot of times you take that reflection and you say, okay, Tamika, what can I do differently? What can I change about what I did last week than what I need to do this week? Or who do I need to contact? And that's me. That's every day I get up and I go back through my contacts and say, okay, who did I talk to last month that I can follow back up with, right? Or who can I, even if you can't do anything per se for me,
Right.
you may have a connection that can lead me into that thing. And that's one of the things that I talked to you guys about when I first met you. Even if you
Networking.
can't do anything,
Networking.
tell someone else about what we're doing, and hopefully we can get some out of that. But I'm all about collaboration. I'm all about uplifting us, and just being able to grow within that community and just see us elevate. You know what I'm saying? That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Because if we don't do it, who else will? We have to stop waiting on someone.
Well, we see
rescue
politically, we
us.
see it right now of what we dealt with.
They don't care.
And so a lot of people don't want to talk about those things, but it's showing us right now, and our children didn't see it, but we've seen it far before, and now history is repeating itself.
It is.
And so if we don't go and make our own tables, none will be
Right.
present for us.
None
That's
of
true.
you.
So
That is
That's
so true. So we have to make up in our minds that we don't want to live in poverty.
No.
And I always feel like there are too many opportunities out here for people to be able to grab a hold on to and really just change the path their life is going. Because some of us, we're in that mindset where we feel like this is it. Like you said, conditioned. That this is all we can have. But I remember wanting to get my CDL. I did go to school for welding, and Marcus is a welding instructor. I did go to school for welding. So for the women, for the sisters who want to do something different, and they make some good money. Truck drivers, and truck drivers aren't going anywhere anytime soon. If y'all been on the highway lately, that's all you see are trucks. 18
Yeah, it had got
wheelers.
slow for a little bit.
Too.
Yeah, a lot of
A
women.
lot of women too.
It had got slow and it was discouraging, but like I said, I started off with one box truck running an Amazon account. So, started out with that, but getting into the CDL part, that was something that I really wanted to do because, trucking is just so many opportunities like logistics.
Yes.
So with the heavy truck driver apprenticeship and then a dock worker, it gives you an opportunity if you don't want to drive, you can get into the warehouse
Right.
safety
So
certificate.
that's two different apprenticeships that you have.
Yes.
The truck driving and a dock worker.
Dock worker, you would
Oh,
get your
okay.
supply
Heavy
chain
equipment
management
and all that.
certification. You would
Okay.
get your forklift certification.
I was about to say forklift. Okay.
Yeah, so forklift, supply chain, because that's one of the things that has been becoming more relevant now, the supply chain manufacturing. A lot of these manufacturing companies are coming here. And so if you can have what it takes, and I come from 9 years of industrial. I worked at a chemical plant for 9 years. So I worked in a warehouse, forklift certified, different things like that. And then kind of went into where the men was making the
y'all
money,
see her
right? And
driving
so...
a forklift?
And so was a rubber plant operator trainee, so learning how to change tips on furnaces, shut
Yeah.
down valves, different things like that. So I did that. And so just always wanted to be challenged myself and do different things. So trucking is just another way, because how many women were in it to kind of do that. So just very excited about the opportunities that we wanted to bring. And even with the hydrogen space, we never got into that type of sector, right? I went to a hydrogen conference in Houston. I didn't see too many people that look like me, right? And so if we can bring those type of jobs to the underserved communities, to us, you know, we don't, it's okay to work at Burger King and McDonald's for a season.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Right? To get to
Passing
where you need
through.
to
To
be.
get
But that is
moving,
not
yeah.
something that you should be
Stay
20,
at.
30 years.
But
That's
it's
it.
not
right?
something, it's not something you have to even consider anymore if we would support people that are doing what you're doing. We wouldn't even have to come out and waste any time at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
That's it.
we could hit the ground running.
Stop.
We just have to develop this, like you said, we have to find this need to want.
Yeah.
That's it.
You know,
And just work
this
together,
want,
because
right?
it takes a team to do it. And I was a one-woman show trying to do all these things, so you can
Right,
imagine
right.
the backlash that I got of trying to put all this
Yes,
stuff
of
together.
course, of
And
course.
so that's why I'm pleading with anyone that wants to come on and us come together as a collective group and say, what can we do to help? Because there's funding opportunities, but a lot of times we can't get it because it's just us, and we don't have all the pieces together.
Right.
And so if we can come together, like I said, it's power in numbers.
That's
When we
it.
come together as a collective, we've seen that many times when we came together from, you know, voting, right? How many
Right.
times have we done that? Gary Chambers, I follow him. He did a miraculous, because he was all over and everything, and it changed the dynamic of something that could have been very, very
Yes.
bad.
Right.
Very,
And so
very.
when we talk about that, and we talk about how can we come together and not just shaming the next person, hey, but also corrective criticism, because that's one of the things that we don't take too kindly.
Right.
Tell me what I'm doing wrong. What can I do different, right?
That's it.
And not
That's
be
it.
afraid to get that.
Yes.
So if I'm doing anything wrong, say to me, I think you should do it like this.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
more productive
Yeah.
as well. You know
It
what I'm
don't
saying? I
have to
think,
be
you know what I'm
in
saying?
front
It
of
don't
the
always
camera.
have to be,
And,
you know,
Yeah.
the cattiness of sometimes that we get caught up in. And so I'm always open for that. What can I do differently? Where can I move? And just to kind of touch on, like, I've really been getting a lot of traction from like different states. And I'm like, man, I want to do it in Louisiana. That's where I'm from.
Right.
But, you know, I'm DBE certified in Atlanta, Arkansas, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, in these different areas. So I had someone reach out to me from Maryland and saying, hey, can you come here, you know, and set everything up? We have money. I'm like, but I want to do it in Louisiana.
Yeah,
I've-
yeah.
I've gone through that before.
But
when
it's
I
been
first
rough
got
here.
out.
It's been really, really
Yeah,
rough
it's-
here in Louisiana
it's-
to get it.
yeah.
You know,
But
we
you
did
know-
it for a while, but
You know, my boss, he's such a wise, such a guru. And he always tells me, man, it's hard. Most times you will never be a prophet in your own
In your
city.
own.
of course.
In your own city.
That
Sometimes
is
they'll
true.
just make it hard on you.
That's what I'm saying.
You
One
know,
bad
yeah,
mistake,
yeah,
one
yeah.
bad thing, and they're ready to tear you to pieces. But you know,
Yes.
all of the rich people or the wealthy people, they didn't stop.
Right.
They failed. They
They
was
kept
kicked down. They
going.
kept, and guess what they
Right.
They
did? They
kept
brushed it
going.
off,
Right.
tears in their eyes, and
Yep.
they got up and they did it again.
Because
Okay,
there's
go.
no such thing as quitting.
Right.
Once that becomes the mentality, progress is your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's it. Just progress is your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to reach.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And see, time always goes by too fast.
I know, right?
When we're having great conversations
yeah.
with visionaries. But Tamika, I want to thank you for coming on the show today and share your information with folks one more time for those who were in the back and didn't hear you the first time.
Okay, so the website is www.tdstraining.tech.com. That's all one word. Or you can reach me 337-339-2957. We're also on Facebook. So LinkedIn is another place that you can kind of reach us at. So very excited to be here and share this information, and I look forward to working with you guys. So.
Y'all go ahead and become an apprentice, and we will be back.